It is 9:32 now. You know, when it comes to fundraisers that are set up to fight diseases, unfortunately, all is not equal because there are lots of diseases out there that need more exposure in an effort to raise more funding. And Huntington's disease is one of them, as deserving as they come. Well, there is an annual walk happening this weekend to help raise awareness of Huntington's disease and to help raise awareness of both the disease and the walk. I'm happy to have with me now Susan McGann. She's the president of the Connecticut Association of the Huntington's Disease, or affiliate, I should say, of the Huntington's Disease Society of America, and James McGann, her husband, who suffers from Huntington's disease. A pleasure to have you both on.
Thank you, Tim.
A pleasure to meet
Thanks
you.
for having
Pleasure
us.
to meet you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sir, I'll get to you in just a second, but we'll start with you, Susan, just
Sure.
for the broad brushstrokes for everybody of what Huntington's
Sure.
disease is.
Huntington's disease is a degenerative hereditary brain disease, and it slowly diminishes your ability to think, talk, speak, and reason. And it goes gradually within 10 to 30 years. There's juvenile forms of Huntington's, and unfortunately, those young people do not live past the 20s. It affects about 1 in 30,000, 1 in 10,000, so about 30,000 people in the United States.
Yeah.
But because it's hereditary disease, you have a 50-50 chance of inheriting it if you have a parent that has it. It's a dominant gene. So there's about 250,000 people in the United States that are at risk of inheriting it. And there are actually 8,000 people in Connecticut that are affected in one way or another. I'm not saying 8,000 have it, but
Yeah.
they're affected in one way or another.
Which still qualifies it as being relatively rare, but
Oh, it is.
8,000 by itself inherently is a large number.
Yeah.
Mr. McGann, you are one of them. When were you diagnosed with Huntington's?
My mother had the disease, so I knew I had a 50-50 chance of getting it. And I underwent the genetic test about 6 years ago and found out I tested positive and that I do have the disease. At that time, I had no symptoms, but since then I've developed some symptoms.
What are the symptoms that you're exhibiting?
Well, there are basically uncontrolled movements, kind of like Parkinson's disease, unsteady gait, balance problems, cognitive issues with thinking, learning, memory, that type of thing, as well as emotional issues, depression, that type of stuff.
Yeah, it isn't necessarily depression just from getting the diagnosis. There's a biochemical
Exactly.
cause to it.
Right, it's a brain disease, so depending on where in the brain it strikes, it can affect people differently.
Now, you had said that you were asymptomatic when you
Right.
decided to get what is essentially a 50-50 test, a coin flip, to
Right.
see if you had it. I can imagine, please correct me if I'm wrong, that some people in your situation maybe would prefer to not know. Why did you decide to get the test?
A lot of people prefer not to know. It's a very difficult decision. Like you said, I didn't have any symptoms, so I thought I was okay. The doctors thought I was okay. The reason I decided to do it was so I could tell my kids that they didn't have to worry about it.
Okay.
You know, I'm thinking that I was all right.
Right.
So unfortunately, it went the other way.
Yeah, and I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, there is no cure, but there are some things that can be done. Please tell us about that.
Well, you can treat the symptoms, like you can treat the depression with antidepressants.
Yeah.
You can treat the uncontrolled movements with a drug called tetrabenazine, but there are serious side effects with that. So I'm actually in a clinical trial for a new drug that's a modified version of that drug that has fewer side effects and seems to be working pretty well.
Well, that's good to hear.
Thank
That's
you.
also why you are taking the time. And believe me, thank you for telling the story, because hopefully it's going to get more awareness out there, that gets more funds raised, more clinical trials start,
Right.
and things start looking up. And to that end, yeah, tell us about Team Hope. You're wearing the T-shirt.
Team Hope. Okay, so the largest fundraiser that are being in 100 cities throughout the country for Huntington Disease Society of America is our Team Hope Walk. And this is our 9th year, and we're real excited that Joe is our MC.
Joe
We're so
Fiore.
excited.
And what an MC he is. He brings so much energy.
He's going to lead the walk. We're
Yeah.
so excited. It's going to be Sunday, September 20th. From 9 o'clock's registration, 10 o'clock's the walk. We're going to have wonderful lunch that this restaurant in Wallingford, he has nothing to do with Huntington's, and for 6 years he's donated all the hot lunch for 250 people. It's Tata's restaurant in Wallingford.
Yeah.
I know, it's yeah. And we have children's activities, we have We have sonar from the wolf pack. We're going to have a coloring contest for the kids. We're going to have a balloon animal maker and face painter, and it's just a fun-filled day for these families. We have families that have it's like a reunion. They have people coming from New York. There's some teams that have 36 people. There's some that have 30, and it's just a fun day. We have a lot of raffle items and a lot of auction items that were donated. We have tickets to Rascal Flats, and we have great stuff.
So it's
so much fun.
A chance to raise money and awareness at the same time. And the location, I forget if you even mentioned it in there because there's so much to say. Right there at Hammonasset, at West Beach, right in Hammonasset.
Exactly.
Brilliant, by the way. Yeah.
And Joe guarantees we're going to have great weather.
Yes, that's the other smart call. Joe can do that. And why not? I mean, this is something you would want to do on a weekend day anyways, to go take a nice long walk at the beach. I can't think of a better way to do it than to help Team Hope and to raise awareness of Huntington's disease. It is one of those diseases that desperately needs more funding to go towards it and more awareness so people who could be affected can find out whether or not it does affect them. Sometimes these things get lost in the shuffle. It's a shame, but thank you. You gave me this nice little bracelet that says...
Can I say one more
Yeah,
thing?
of course,
okay.
of course.
Well, hope, we have hope. So hope for today, hope for tomorrow. So we have wonderful research being done. That's why we really need the support for fundraising. We have something that's going on now with human phase 1 trial in Europe and in Canada. That's gene silencing. It's silencing that defective gene.
Yeah.
So there's so much hope. So we need people's support and help to help us.
If that comes through, Huntington's goes away completely. It's not even necessarily treatment, it's eradicating it.
Yeah.
It's conceivable.
It's conceivable.
It's conceivable.
So
Yeah.
I wish you both the best of luck. You guys are
Jim.
fighting the good fight. Thank you
Thank
so much,
you.
James, for
Thank
taking
you very
time.
much.
All right, well, coming up next on Morning Extra, we are going to look ahead to the holiday season. Seasonal employment may be something you're looking for.